Assalamu alaikum. Hi, my name is Shaun. I am here to tell you as children we stand in solidarity with the people of Palestine. They deserve to live life like we do here. I am only 8 years old and I know more about humanity than our president. And until Palestine
Say that one again.
And until Palestine is free, it's free Palestine.
I assess the damage, determining the connection between the lines of what feels like sanity and insanity, no uncircular instrument strong enough to stitch up the recklessness of this inhumanity. Back to the drawing board of the blueprint between hospitals meant to save lives, not murder them. Feeling torn at the construction of the establishment meant to save my people. Never considered how to combat this racism. And you see, my people went to school and got their medical degrees, and little did they know they'd ascend into the reality of hate so violent in 2023, but they still hope. And they do dream despite the 1948 catastrophe. So many moments where I wish that Ivy Good was a little more crisp and having me equipped for the little children to withstand the wounds of bombings and bullets and burials so unkind. I promise you, no anesthesia could numb the pain, felt far beyond the moments of tragedy. Caught between the juxtaposition of images between war toward Israel and the aftermath of the terrorism waged on my people for the last 75 years. It rolled up to October 7th like a virus that spread from the mere choice to let the agents multiply and kill, and yet we question, why did it attack the heart? Hearts racing, inches awaiting the next bomb drop realistically and metaphorically. What does that even mean anymore when the dystopia has become so real? I'm running out of words between the suicidal thoughts of my Palestinian children to convincing the world that their names would be in the graduation books and movies, not on the arms of their dismembered limbs I've ever yearned to be more dismembered from this society. No longer connected like the weaving of the heads and hands used to create gauze that addresses the wounds of the hands in America, fixed up and prepared to pull the trigger that has murdered my people. But please know our heartbeat pulses through patriotic acts and activism far beyond the language comprehensible to those filled with fear and not faith. And when someone asks me where's my smile, I pause and I say, I sent it to the children of Palestine 6,000 miles away. It's in the land where olive trees whisper ancient tales each and every day, where the sun paints hues on resilient Palestinians who always find their way. Someone asked me, where's my smile today? I told them I buried it under the rubble of what used to be my homeland today. And I asked them, what role are you willing to play? Will you sell your soul to the devil or challenge what the devil has to say? Stop asking me, where's my smile today? Instead, let solidarity pave the way. For Palestine's story is stitched between our collective wounds and solidarity united, or our freedom is doomed until a free Palestine. My name is Lexi Zaydan, and I'll be emceeing this event today alongside my Palestinian brother, Amir Zahr. We're gathered here today because in 1978, the United Nations declared the 29th of November as the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. It was on this day in 1947 that the United Nations General Assembly adopted the resolution of the partition of Palestine, intended to establish an Arab state and a Jewish state. With Israel having occupied the Palestinian territory since 1967, and Palestinians yet to realize their fundamental rights to self-determination, sovereignty, and return to their homes from which they've been displaced. This United Nations International Day is a time for the international community to stand with Palestinian people and acknowledge that this situation and crisis is far from being resolved. And in the words of Khalid to his granddaughter, Reem, the Palestinians are the souls of our soul. And so today, we have people from all walks of life responding to that call. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce a fierce leader in our community, someone who puts the people before the politics, a true servant leader, serving as a volunteer with the United Nations Relief and Work Agency in Jordan. Please help me welcome the mayor of our city, Dearborn, Hammoud.
Thank you. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. First and foremost, I want to take the opportunity to welcome all of our guests to the greatest city in all the land, the city of Dearborn. This is the city of protest, the city of resilience, the city of resistance. That is what Dearborn is, because we do not forget. When the events unfolded in October, I can't tell you how many media outlets reached out and asked the question, what do you think about what's happening overseas? And my response was, we don't have to think. We are the city that bears the scars of war crimes. We are home to Abu Gonzalez, who hails from Sarsour, a village that is being ethnically cleansed. A man whose father and whose grandparents were the caretakers of Precious al-Quds. Those roots, those seeds are planted in the city of Dearborn. We're the home to many a family who had to dig out their loved ones from their homes that were bombed by Israeli fighter jets and buried them. We don't have to think about what that pain is like, because we have felt it. We are the city where many of our parents and our grandparents still have the booklet in which IDF soldiers had to stamp, granting us permission to move freely about in our own ancestral villages. We don't have to think about what it's like. We have the scars and we know exactly what it's like. So when we have our White House, the administration, elected officials trying to tell us what is good for us, I have a message for them. You have no understanding of what's unfolding overseas, because we are on the side of justice and truth, and we have the first-hand account of what the terrorist state, the Israeli government, has done time and time again for the last 75 years. We are standing to the light to try to educate us, because our bodies bear the scars, and we are the witnesses. A lot of people are asking the question, what will this community do in 2024? You have a choice between the current president or the former president. And if the former president assumes office, that is the demise of American democracy. What I have to say loud and clear is that our lives are not dependent upon our votes. Our humanity is not dependent upon which way that we vote. You either see us as equals or you do not see us at all. And the question should stand. If American democracy depends on our current president being reelected, then why does being bedfellows with a terrorist Benjamin Netanyahu worth sacrificing American democracy? That is the question that should be asked. Not put on our shoulders about which way will we go. The question is, what policy will you adopt and which constituents will you listen to? Those who stuff their pockets with money, or those telling you about the scars that we bear on our backs and the family members that we bury in the ground about what is unfolding overseas. That is the truth. I want to thank you all for standing on the side of truth. The world might not see it today, but tomorrow and one day history will be on our side, talking about the moments in which we rallied, standing up for justice time and time again. To our brothers and sisters in Hezbollah, we will never forget. We will never forget. To all of our daughters who were all leaving, the granddaughter of Khalid who had to be buried, of that man who showed tender love, an often image that Arab men are never depicted in. We are loving, we are caring, we love our children, we love our daughters, we love our granddaughters, we love our sons, we love our mothers, we love our parents. That is who we are. Thank you all so much for taking the stand. It's not a stand just for Arab, it's for Muslims. It's a stand for all of humanity, for all of humanitarians. Assalamu alaikum. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! End the occupation now! End the occupation now! End the occupation now! Thank you all. Good evening. My name is Amir Zahr, and I am proud to stand in solidarity with you all. And I'm humbled to MC tonight with my Palestinian Christian sister, Alexa Zaydan. Please give us a round of applause for Alexa. Tonight we have a very diverse lineup of people from all communities who are standing in solidarity with the Palestinian people. So to all my Black, Asian, Latino, Jewish, Indigenous, and all of our brothers and sisters who are standing with the Palestinian people, thank you. You know, when we are out on the streets and we are marching, I'm constantly hearing the same thing. That many Americans are angry. We are angry. As Americans, we are angry that our country is sending billions of dollars to Israel every single year to continue its war crimes on the Palestinian people. Yet we don't have money to fix our crumbling education system. We don't have money to offer every American health care. We don't have money to feed the homeless. Yet we have the money to fund the genocide of the people of Gaza. The American people are angry. We are angry that our American police forces are being trained by the illegal Israeli occupation forces who are brutally beating Palestinian children every single day with zero accountability. We are angry. But you know who's even angrier? You know who's even more angry than we are? The American elites, including our President Joe Biden, who has earned the title Genocide Joe. To Joe Biden, you are the textbook definition of a hypocrite, and you are a cancer in our country. You are angry that the American people are starting to realize that they have been lied on for so long. You are angry that hundreds of thousands of people in the United States are marching every single day for a free Palestine. But the difference is, our anger is justified, and your anger is built on corruption and greed. To the elites and the establishment politicians who are working so hard and working around the clock to silence and suppress our voices, I promise you, we won't be silenced. I promise you, we will not stop marching on the streets demanding a free Palestine. We will not stop raising our voices against the injustices that are happening. We will not stop calling and emailing your offices until we have achieved freedom over force, until we have achieved equality over ethnic cleansing, solidarity over separation walls, peace over prejudice, dignity over discrimination, right to return over racist Israeli occupation forces, global peace over genocide, hope over hatred, ceasefire over carpet bombing, opportunity over occupation and a free Palestine over foreign domination. I promise you we won't stop. So on this International Day of Solidarity, I thank you all for standing against the occupation of the Palestinians and the genocide in Gaza. And I say this with the utmost confidence. I believe this with every ounce in my body. And may God hold me accountable on the day of judgment if I am lying to you. I promise you, I swear to you, Wallahi al-Azim, you are all on the right side of history. God bless you all, and God bless the Palestinian people, and thank you for standing in solidarity with the Palestinian people. It is now my honor and privilege to introduce a powerhouse, someone who's been on the front lines fighting for the Palestinian people, somebody who's not afraid to speak truth to power. My sister from Michigan United, Gabriela.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Elder Leslie, and I am the Director of Faith and Justice at Michigan United. What brings me here today is everyone in this space. What brings me here today is my friend, Linda Sarsour, Councilwoman Gabriela Santiago-Romero, and my new friend, Amir Zahr. What brings me here today is the filtered news that shows the world what it wants us to see. What brings me here today is children that I see on stretchers, children that have dirt on their little faces because they have a lack of water. The children whose bodies are lifeless and limp. The children whose eyes will blink. The children, the ones that cry, whose heart is wrenched when they learn that all of their family has been killed. That's what brings me here. What brings me here today is the cry of the fathers, of the mothers, the cry of the family members. What brings me here today is the creator of all, who is crying with us because they know this is not the way. This is not the way of love. This is not the way of peace. This is not the way of the Almighty. This is not the way of justice. I stand today. You stand today. We stand today because sitting and praying and hoping that the attacks on the Palestinian people will stop is not enough. We can have faith, but we are not working together, then our work has been done in vain. We must stand together. We must work together. We are one people under God for liberty and justice for all. Liberty and justice should not be exclusive for one or two groups of people. Liberty and justice should be inclusive no matter the color of your skin, the language that you speak, or the God that you serve. We must not allow the powers to be to separate us one from another. Our struggle is not against each other, but our struggle is against those that seek to oppress the Palestinian people. What are we fighting for? What are we fighting for? We are fighting for humanity. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Salome.
فلسطين عربية من المية للمية فلسطين عربية. When a country is told there are no red lines, the result is hospitals are targeted and destroyed. Refugee camps are targeted and destroyed. Schools are targeted and destroyed. Safe routes are targeted
and destroyed. Food, water, and aid are blocked from entering and effectively are starving people. Journalists are targeted and killed for exposing the truth. Another leader in our community, this man has dedicated an entire page in his newspaper every single week for 40 years to inform the mass of people on the truth behind the ethnic cleansing of our Palestinians. Informing the people when Palestine wasn't trending, informing the people when it was unsafe to talk about Palestine. I'd like to introduce Mr. Osama Siblani.
Assalamu alaikum. My brothers and sisters, first of all, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight, and every time you were called to show up, you were there. Thank you. Thank you to Amir Zahr for his persistence and commitment before October 7 and after October 7. And thanks to those speakers behind me who spoke for a long time everywhere in support of justice and freedom for Palestinians and against Israeli aggression and genocide. Netanyahu, my brothers and sisters, and our President Joe Biden, and the Zionists in DC and around the world, they declared a war of elimination and total destruction of the Palestinians in Gaza and in the West Bank and everywhere. They failed. They failed because of the strong resistance of the Palestinian people. Because they underestimated the resolve. They underestimated the Palestinian people in Gaza and their steadfastness and readiness to pay the ultimate sacrifice and sacrifice with the soul of the soul for the freedom and justice of the Palestinians. We shall die or live with dignity, freedom, and justice. That is the title that Netanyahu, Biden, and Lincoln, and everybody behind them and in front of them, to the side of them, they should know that this is the order of the day. We will never back down from our freedom. Here and over there. And they underestimated, my brothers and sisters, they underestimated your resolve, your response of you, the people, for a country believes that's governed for the people, by the people. Your resolve and commitment to continue standing up and demanding justice and freedom. My brothers and sisters, time has changed. I know I'm the oldest one sitting here. I started the fight 39 years ago when Israel destroyed my own home in Beirut, not in Gaza, before Hezbollah and before Hamas. They are the terrorists and they are the killers. I started this fight. I quit my job as a vice president to make a difference. when Palestinian was considered the P word, and virtually no one talked about the subject and dare to speak about the subject. In public and in the media, I stood up. I'm not saying this to brag about what I have done in my life. I am at the end of it. I stood up and shouted from the pages of the Arab American news every week, free Palestine. Every week and every day, and from every podium, without any fear, without any hesitation. But look at us today and now. Look at you. You and the millions and the tens of millions of like you around the world standing up today to those killers. In every language, in every capital, in every city, saying to the world, free Palestine in every language. You and the millions like you around the world, and here in America, standing up without fear and intimidation, tirelessly in support of Palestine. I want to thank you. Don't let them make you hopeless and intimidate you into silence. Because you are making the difference today, a huge difference. So yesterday or the day before yesterday, Biden met with some Arab Americans in order to redeem himself. So I am here to say, from Dearborn, the capital of Arab America, if you stand on your head, and we know that you're going to stand on your feet, you will never get our vote. My brothers and sisters, listen. Things are changing in America. And very soon, very soon, while I'm still alive, the change is coming. And the wave of people like you is reaching to DC to clean the White House and the Congress from the corrupt and the best paid politicians that we can have. These people who are responsible for killing millions in the world without any sensitivity or any remorse. They are a bunch of killers. They killed in Syria, in Iraq, in Libya, in Afghanistan, in Somalia, in Vietnam. They killed millions of people. They are senseless killers. They are bloodthirsty. And it is your responsibility to go to Washington, D.C. and clean them out. From the halls of the Congress and from the White House, day before yesterday or yesterday, Tuesday, they voted in the United States House of Representatives. Can you believe that this is a House of Representatives? 412 to 1. Supporting Israel and ignoring the Palestinian plight. This is the country that calls itself the leader of the free world. No way, Jose! And it's not about Palestine. It isn't about Palestine. It isn't. It's about us here in the United States. They divided us. And they are destroying our country, the United States of America, and putting us against each other. Keep the movement. Keep the momentum. We are on the road for a great victory here in DC and there in Palestine. Let us remember next November what these co-conspirators, co-criminals have done this October and November. And let's remember that no vote for Biden, and no vote for Trump, and no vote for Elisa Slotkin, a CIA operative that killed our people in Iraq. And let us remember and always and forever say and continue to say what? Free, free Palestine. Thank you very much and God bless you.
This is a new chant that I love. In November we remember. In November we remember. You know, a lot of people are trying to make this look like it's a religious war. Netanyahu, because he's losing so bad, and there's no way that he can recover from this. He's making it look like it's a religious war. Is it a religious war? It absolutely is not. It's not a religious war. This is not Jewish versus Muslim. This is not Muslim versus Christian. There are Christian Palestinians in Gaza right now who are being killed every single day. There are churches in Gaza that have people inside that are being bombed every day. This is not a religious issue, and the next speaker is going to prove that to you. We've been seeing shutdowns in the Manhattan Bridge. We've been seeing shutdowns at the Statue of Liberty. We've been seeing shutdowns in the Rotunda building in Congress, and that is because our friends from Jewish Voices for Peace, please help me welcome my brother, my Jewish brother, Joshua from Jewish Voices for Peace.
Thank you. Good evening, Dearborn. Good evening, Dearborn. As always, we are very proud to be here with you tonight. And one thing I can tell you, our movement for a free Palestine is alive. Our movement for a free Palestine is vibrant. And most importantly, our movement for a free Palestine is working. And while we are grateful that the world is taking notice, we have to be realistic that there's a long road ahead. So, my message to you at Hart Plaza a month ago, and today, tonight, and tomorrow is always the same. I implore you, please continue to contact your elected officials, your elected representatives, and contact them again, and again, and again, and again. These men and women, they work for us, not the other way around. And we, the people, demand a ceasefire now, a permanent ceasefire now. It is your steadfast pressure that is cracking the wall of their genocidal denial. Now, this wall, it may appear to be made of steel and stone, but in reality, it is really made of glass. So stick together, stand by each other, continue on this path, stick to the truth, stick to the facts, and we will crash and burn and crack that wall of glass and shatter it. My friends, I'll tell you something. Do you know why the Nazis were able to commit? Thank you. Thank you, Amer. In all seriousness, do you know why the Nazis were able to commit ethnic cleansing? Yes, they were brutal. Yes, they were ruthless. Yes, they killed women and children and infants. And yes, they were masters of propaganda. But their secret weapon was relying upon a silent and complicit public that did not act. Well, we are acting. We are taking action. This is our moment. This is our chance to actually define what it means to be a true human being. And my friends, as I look around, I'm happy to tell you that every day, more and more and more Jewish people are standing up and saying, "Not in my name! You will not oppress in my name! You will not imprison in my name! And you will not commit genocide in my name!" Never again means never again. Not just for the Jewish people, but for everyone and anyone, everywhere. So thank you, and God bless you, and God bless a free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Thank you, Joshua, and on behalf of every single person here, on behalf of the millions in Gaza who are living in genocide, thank you to you, and thank you to every single member of Jewish Voices for Peace for standing up against the injustice of our Where are my young brothers and sisters at? God bless the people of Yemen and everything that they are doing to support the Palestinians. And everybody that is standing with the Palestinians. Next, please help me welcome my Yemeni sister here from Dearborn, Sister Gabriela.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no justice. Assalamu alaikum and peace be on all of you. As a proud Yemeni American, I want the world to know that Yemen stands with Palestine. They always have, and always will stand for the freedom of Palestinians. We want to thank you, all of you, for being here today at this rally and being present and showing support for Palestine. Your attendance matters. Your attendance matters. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We will continue to rally and protest until justice is served and Palestine is free. We will not give up. We want to thank all of you for emailing, calling, and communicating with your senators, your representatives, elected officials who hold us accountable. They work for us to do what's right. We will continue to use our freedom of speech until justice is served and Palestine is free. We want to thank you for posting on social media, bringing attention and awareness. Keep on posting, reposting, and sharing. Like and engage with content on the truth. They continue to block us, but we'll continue to speak and share the truth of what's happening in Palestine. We will continue to use our platforms until justice is served and Palestine is. We want to thank you for participating in the BDS movement. Boycott, divest, and sanction. From Starbucks to Disney, boycott companies that fund apartheid. Due to these boycotts, they have lost over $600 million a week. We are and will continue making a difference. We will continue to boycott, divest, and sanction until justice is served and Palestine is free. We have learned so much from our Palestinian brothers and sisters. Palestinians have taught us strength. They have taught us resilience. Palestinians have taught us to put humanity in front of opportunity. I don't care how much you make. I don't care what your boss tells you. Humanity in front of opportunity. Palestinians have taught us what it means to be united more than ever before. I would like to invite my Jewish friend Joshua and my friend Lexi Zaydan, a Palestinian Christian, my Jewish brother Joshua, and my Palestinian Christian friend Lexi. Let's give them a hand. remind the world that this is not a religious conflict. It's a conflict that brings people of all walks of life together to do what's right. This is about humanity. We will be united, and we will continue to be on the right side of history. In America, from sea to shining sea, to Palestine, from the river to the sea, we stand united for peace and a free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Thank you. Gaza, you will rise. Palestine will never die. Gaza, you will rise. Palestine will never die. If Israel is a democracy, they would have one set of rules and regulations for all of its citizens. And it, in fact, has a separate democratic system for Israelis and a military system for our Palestinians. Israel is currently holding over 170 children in military prisons. When they say, bring our hostages home, we say, release all of our hostages. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce another member of our community that has been fierce as a voice. He's done so much relentless work in Palestine. Please welcome to the stage our Father Jack Edelson.
Thank you.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! This didn't start October 7th, did it? I was in Ramallah, Palestine in 2002. It was at the end of the Second Intifada. And we were with high school students, and they had just had 5 days of curfew. And they were ready to talk. They told about the Israeli soldiers breaking into their homes, forcing their parents to kneel as the soldiers surrounded them with guns. They told about a female classmate who was detained in prison, who was innocent. And every night they could hear the bombs. And as we went through that city, we saw demolished buildings, burned cars from Israeli missiles. The students had been terrorized. Their school was vandalized. Bombs were exploding. And it had been almost a year since they had any visitors. And when we left, we said, is there anything else you want to tell us? And they said, it makes a difference to know that there are people in the world who care whether we live or whether we die. Quoting a friend of mine from Palestine, he said, silence in the face of injustices, massacres, and humiliation is a sin against God and humanity. Visiting the same school 18 months later, we talked with 2 8th grade students. And when I asked them, so what about the situation? And they said, so quietly that we couldn't hear them. And their teacher said, say it louder. We can't understand why the world is so silent. Their words haunt me every day and will not allow me to be silent. The situation is unjust because people are silent. The price of silence is death. Can we be silent when 13,000 people are killed? I didn't hear you. It is clear what happens when people do not speak out. When people are in Gaza are denied water and electricity, medicine, and food, Our government will say all kinds of words, changes for justice. And then it acts to give $15 billion to the oppressor. It doesn't have to be that way. Back in 1982, when the Israeli military was doing some bombing in Beirut, President Ronald Reagan, I'm not a fan at all, but this is one thing he did on this one day. He made a furious phone call to the Prime Minister of Israel. And these are his words. I told him they have to stop bombing, or our relationship will change. And Reagan said, he said to the Prime Minister of Israel, this is a Holocaust. He used that word deliberately and said the symbol in his mind, in Reagan's mind, was a picture of a 7-month-old baby with its arms blown off. Now, all the president's aides they had never seen him so furious and vehement and angry. And they wondered, now what will happen? Well, in this day, this is just a moment. The Prime Minister of Israel called back within moments. And he said, Mr. President, the bombing today stopped. Rather than demanding that the bombing be stopped, President Biden asked for $15 billion to keep funding it. Is that right? That ain't right. Where are the voices of political leaders that demand that the injustices and the bombing stop? When our one Congresswoman stood up and told the truth, they censored her, but what did she say? You cannot silence me. And I laughed when I heard her say that, because I know it's true. Silence in the face of injustice, massacres, and humiliation is a sin against God and all humanity. Shouting for justice, shouting for the dignity of Palestinian people can be respectful but loud, chaotic and unholy, truthful and uncomfortable. Because we know the cost of silence is suffering and death. Will the wise and haunting words of my friends allow me to be silent? No. Will we be silent when we see injustice? No. Will we be silent when we see thousands and thousands and thousands of children killed? Will we be silent? No. Will we be silent when Palestinians are humiliated every day? And their homes are stolen from them? No! Will we be silent? No! Because we will never be silent until justice flows down like waters, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. So keep making noise. Demand justice, demand dignity for the Palestinian people. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
The people united will never be defeated. Louder, the people united will never be defeated. want us to take a moment, again, thank Amer and New Generation for Palestine for bringing us all here together today. You can scan the QR code to learn more about the organization and support. As Pastor Jack Edelson was talking, I thought a lot about how nobody talks about the unity between Palestinian Christians, Muslims, and Jews. And how Palestinians are the true representation of what humanity looks like. And I also thought about how we live in a country that constantly promotes peace and constantly funds violence. The hypocrisy and the contradictory is beyond me. And what they also try to do is, what they're afraid of, is they're afraid of the unity of the collective people here in America. They pride themselves off the division of our people rather than promoting through a moral and ethical conscience to get every person next to each other to say, I love you and I see you. Unfortunately, our government is nothing short of a joke. But there are individuals who make me believe that humanity still exists. There are individuals that make me believe that we should have faith and hope in our democracy, but we have to lead. We have to demand what it is that we want to see. This next person is an individual who was elected into a council member seat through our democracy. One of very few elected leaders who stood unwaveringly brave in the face of adversity when proposing a ceasefire resolution to the Detroit City Council. And listen, to the people that say collective voice doesn't matter, to the people that say, why are you in the streets, to the people that say, why are you protesting, it was through community organizing and advocacy that Detroit became the first and largest city in the country to pass a ceasefire resolution. It is our job as American citizens to consistently elevate and support these brave leaders. It is our job that when they go up for re-election, we campaign and stand behind them. It is our job when we say we see you, we see the elected officials on the right side of history. And so I want to elevate this brave leader who's been a role model for me and who is standing on the right side of history. Please help me welcome Detroit City Council member Gabriela Santiago-Romero.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. How are you feeling? I feel so much love, and I am very sad and sorry that we're here under these current circumstances, but it's going to change, y'all. And this is really just building the power that we need, the unity that we need for the next fights that we know are going to come down the pipeline. As has been mentioned, my name is Gabriela Santiago-Romero, and I am honored to represent the most beautiful and diverse district in Detroit, District 6. District 6 is so much more than Southwest Detroit. I represent downtown, Portown, Pass Corridor, Midwest Hyman, Core City, the original Southwest Detroit, over in 4217, and so many other neighborhoods. Our neighbors are Jewish, Asian American, Latinx, Black, white, gay, straight, trans, and yes, Palestinians. We span many beliefs, prayers, and ethnicities, and all of us deserving of love and care. Because I champion human rights, I was the one that put forward the resolution for the Detroit City Council to support a sustained ceasefire in Gaza. We are asking the release of all hostages and immediate flow of humanitarian aid. Because of the organized residents from Detroiters for ceasefire and people like you that called in every single day, Detroit is now the largest city in the United States to demand a ceasefire. am so proud to have led these efforts at the council table, but I also know that our fight continues. Current estimates are that over 15,000 new martyrs are in Gaza, and 7,000 are trapped under rubble. We know that thousands of these are children. Many more Palestinians are taken as prisoners without due process. Survivors are displaced from their homes and they're living in horrible conditions because of the siege. They are in need of clean water, food, and medication as they are currently being exposed to different diseases. We know these are violations of international law. Our work is not done to protect innocent lives and to stop the endless cycle of destruction and death in Palestine. I know that as I speak on this stage, our tax dollars are funding bombardments, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. And this is why we say ceasefire now. This is our rally cry against the injustice that we see. We will not be led astray for standing up for what is right. As my people will say that lucha, mi lucha is tu lucha. My struggle is your struggle. In Detroit, we know what solidarity looks like. Who seek to mourn in peace, not in vengeance, and who say, not in my name. We stand with our Palestinian brothers and sisters who are enduring unimaginable hardships. We extend our love and solidarity to all who grieve and condemn the rise of anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and other hate-motivated crimes we're seeing around the world. To both my Jewish and Palestinian siblings, I see you and I love you. Because of you, I still believe in humanity. I believe in a world where Palestinians are free. And I believe that together we can make that world a reality. To my Palestinian comrades, I once again am sorry that this country is perpetuating colonialism, apartheid, and we are a part of what's causing you pain. We are allowed to criticize our governments when it fails us. In fact, we must. How else are we going to hold it accountable? I'm grateful for my colleagues who supported the ceasefire resolution, but it was not easy. It took tireless efforts of community organizers, social justice groups, and faith organizations, and concerned citizens coming together to make that happen. This victory taught us two things. One, that unity is powerful, and that everyone has a role to play. Why do we care about events thousands of miles away? Because we know that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We strive for a world where everyone, regardless of nationality or belief, can live without fear in vibrant, safe communities. And we can do this, y'all. I can feel it in my bones. We can do this. I recently visited the new Nelson Mandela exhibit. Just as Nelson Mandela became a global icon who championed for and ultimately achieved the abolition of apartheid in South Africa, I believe that our generation can be that champion for Palestine. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank each of you for your relentless support. As everyone has been saying, keep speaking out, keep engaging, keep calling out the officials. It does matter. I get the emails, I get the voice messages. We read them, y'all. Keep pushing. It does matter. We do get it. Keep sharing your stories and supporting each other, and keep centering humanity. Let's fight for a world where every voice is heard and every life is valued. Together, let's turn this page of terror for a new chapter, one that is focused on peace, understanding, and freedom. Thank you all so much for your work, and free Palestine.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! No, I was out of the country, but I do know how much work it took, Councilwoman, to get this resolution passed. So on behalf of everybody, I really thank you. I thank you for not being afraid to speak truth to power. And we will never never forget. You know, I think it's important that next November we will remember the politicians who stood against the Palestinian people, but we will also remember those who stood by us, and we will always remember your courage. And I also want to make something very clear. Israel does not have the right to retaliate against actions led by an oppressed people they control. Palestinians are calling for peace, freedom, and self-determination, and our President Joe Biden is supporting Israelis while they call for slaughter, violence, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. I promise we will not forget that. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but Joe Biden's a liar. Absolutely. Genocide Joe. Genocide Joe. Genocide Joe. And now we are seeing that the media is also lying, and we won't forget that. But while the media can lie, while Joe Biden can lie, while all these politicians can lie, I want you to remember one thing. They have money, but organized people always beats organized money. Israelis are telling you what's happening in Palestine, but Palestinians are showing you what's happening in Palestine. And it is my honor to introduce our next guest, who has amplified those voices, who has shared those voices to ensure that every single person across the world is understanding what's really happening and is seeing the truth. Please help me welcome a man who has dedicated his life to sharing the truth, a man who is speaking up when it's not popular, my brother and in this movement, Shaun.
Hello, Dearborn. Hello, Michigan. It's my honor to be here with all of you tonight. And I'm just glad that they had me speak before Linda. Listen, we are here during a very tough time. And I want to say a couple of things to you. First and foremost, I know many of you know me from Instagram, but when I wake up in the morning, every morning, I see myself first and foremost as a father. I have 5 children, 4 girls and a son. I have kids in elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. And I want to say something to you that may not always come through Instagram. Everything that I do and everything that I say, and even my presence here, this is the first time that I've left my family's side in the past 2 months. I really do it first and foremost as a father. And everything that I'm saying now, I say as a father. And so much of what I have decided to do is to show the plight of Palestinian children, not only in Gaza, but also in the West Bank, even tonight. You may have seen just this morning, 2 young Palestinian boys were shot and killed by the same police that trained our police departments all over this country. I want you to understand where my solidarity comes from. And I want, if you don't mind for a moment, I just want to teach for a moment. The root of my solidarity with Palestinian people, first and foremost, begins with friendships. And really the root of all solidarity begins with friendship. When I think about my heroes, like Malcolm X, like Fred Hampton, even Huey P. Newton, at the height of their enlightenment, they started to understand that they needed to build relationships with people outside of their own community. So the year that our dear brother Malcolm X, who traveled to Michigan often, the year that he was killed was also the same year that he started building deep relationships with Palestinians, with Egyptians. It was when the year he was killed was the year he made the Hajj, and he said it changed his life.
Our dear brother Fred Hampton, who was killed by police in Chicago, started understanding that the plight of Black people was so deeply intertwined with the plight of oppressed people everywhere that he started forming relationships and started traveling to meet with rural white Americans and started understanding that what they were dealing with wasn't too different than what he was dealing with. My solidarity, it's beautiful to me that my dear sister Linda is here, because Linda has gone from just being someone I knew casually to becoming a friend, and now we are sister and brother. We have seen each other, we text and talk regularly, but we have seen each other in very, very low moments. We have endured moments where both of us have been the number one. If me or Linda are the number one trending topic, best believe it's bad. But we've endured it. My dearest friend, who was closer than a brother, Imam Omar Suleiman, is like family to me. And I say that because I want each of you to understand the value of building friendships. Friends show up for each other. Not because you think there's gonna be something that you get in return. Family definitely shows up for each other. And I want you to understand, I'm not Palestinian. Although I have been offered at least 1,000 lambs over the past month. every day, lamb every day. I have been deeply moved by you even allowing me to advocate and stand and fight for you. And so I just want you to hear me say thank you for allowing me this space. Sometimes when there's not a solution to the problem you're facing, and I have fought for civil rights and human rights for the past 25 years since I was 16 years old. And many times we have a goal in mind and we don't achieve that goal. But sometimes I've seen in really low moments, sometimes people just want to know that they're being seen. And I just want you to hear from me, and I hope you feel it in my words, that you see it in my captions. I want you to know that I see you, I value you, and listen to me, I love you. And it's that's what they don't understand about us. That this is not a news story, but this is family standing up for family. These are brothers standing up for brothers, sisters standing up for sisters. This is us standing up for each other. Many of you, including many elders that are in the room, I know you've been on your feet for long. I just have 3 very quick points that I want to make. I am excited that we are energized and organized, but I do have a concern. And I just want to lay that out here because I'm hoping that we can leave here, leave Dearborn, we can leave this place, and for people that may be seeing this all over the country and all around the world, being energized and being organized, those are the first 2 steps to making change. But if you don't have a plan that meets the size and scope of the problem, you will be energized and organized and lose. I say that sadly from experience. I've been energized, I've been organized, I've helped to energize and organize other people, and we did not achieve the thing we set out to achieve, sometimes because our plan did not meet the moment. We need to be sure that everybody in this room, and your family, and your friends, and your network, that we have a plan that we can all repeat back to one another. Do you understand what I'm saying? That showing up and having this solidarity is beautiful, it's wonderful, and it's necessary. But we need to make sure that we have a plan that meets the moment. All right? You understand that? Secondly, I want to say something to you because this moment that we're in, I don't know about you, but for me, most days feel completely overwhelming. Up until I think I cried for at least 45 days straight. I had 2 or 3 days over the past few days where I didn't. Then today, I found myself crying again at the images and videos that I was seeing. And it's easy to look at the magnitude of the destruction and think, what can I do to make a difference? But the beauty of solidarity, the definition of solidarity, is that it's not, dear sister, what's your name? It's not up to you alone to solve the problem, but it's up to what you do and you do and you do and I do, all of us. What we each do individually makes a difference together. And so on some days, yes, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the moment, but just understand that while you're doing what you're doing, while you're marching, while you're passing a resolution in the city council, there are people all over the world doing the very same thing. And we work together in that beautiful way. Now, I did ask, and this is an important question to ask, I asked before I came, is there anything that I'm not allowed to say? So I won't go there. But I need us to understand what I think is a very, very difficult idea. Genocide does not end on its own. That is not the nature of genocide. Ethnic cleansing just doesn't come to a slow conclusion. War crimes never just fade away. They are stopped. And I am not convinced, the proof is the suffering, that we are doing enough to actually stop what we see. Right? I want to make that, because how frustrating would it be if we continued in the same direction and we met here next year? And then in 5 years, and it's still continuing. I'm checking my phone as I'm on stage because this truce that they call it may not even hold but a few more hours. And I'm not convinced at all that the world is doing enough, that the leaders of the world are doing enough. I'm not convinced at all that the International Criminal Court. Here's my question for the International Criminal Court. Are you going to wait until 100,000 Palestinians have been killed? Or are you going to wait until 1 million? Now that sounds horrific, but the International Criminal Court literally waited until 1 million people in Rwanda were killed. And then it took them almost 15 years to prosecute the case. However, it took them months to file charges against Vladimir Putin. Right? So, what I want to know is, are you going to treat, this is to the International Criminal Court, are you going to treat Palestinians the way you treated Rwandans 30 years ago? Or are you going to give Palestinians the same humanity that you just gave this year, that you just gave Ukrainians? It's a real question. And we have to grapple with these questions, because maybe you don't know that the United States is one of the few nations in the world that is not even a member of the International Criminal Court. Because If the United States was a member state of the International Criminal Court, thousands of Americans would be in prison for war crimes right now. And that's not a Republican or Democrat thing, and that's what you heard from this stage. Some of your favorite politicians would be in prison right now if the United States was a part of the International Criminal Court. So who do Palestinians go to? Yes, we go to God, but here's the thing. Palestinians have two places they can go. And faith is no doubt a part of that. Palestinians cannot file charges. They don't have equal rights under the law, so they have to go to the International Criminal Court. That's first. Secondly, Palestinians have to go to the people. And what we see, which is so beautiful, what we have right now, I don't know about you, but I am so deeply encouraged when I see millions of people marching in London, in Paris, in Indonesia. I saw a video of people in Yemen organizing. Now listen, every time I post the Yemeni fighters taking over ships, it gets removed. But I have to, we've mentioned Nelson Mandela, and I have to quote Nelson Mandela. And he said this when he was in the West Bank. He visited Palestine. He had deep love and affection for Palestinians. And you may recall, there's a beautiful interview when he first traveled to the United States and was being interviewed by Ted Koppel. There was a government plant in the audience who in essence asked him the equivalent of, do you denounce Hamas? They asked him if he would denounce the PLO, if he would denounce Fidel Castro, and he looked straight at the man and straight at Ted Koppel and said, you make the mistake of thinking that your enemies are my enemies. And you make the mistake of thinking that your friends are my friends. And the Palestinian people stood by, stood beside, stood behind, stood in front of Nelson Mandela for years. And when he traveled to Palestine, he said something profound. He said, we will try peace. And that is our preference. We will try protest. We will try boycott, and that is our preference. But you cannot ask us to be the only nonviolent people in the room. Please have a side eye. Be skeptical when violent people demand you be peaceful. There's something wrong. I prefer it. It is all of our preference. But increasingly, it appears that they don't always understand peace. That's part of why we're here. So my prayer is that in the days and weeks ahead, that every one of us in the room, and it's the responsibility of local, national, international leaders, that in a week or two, we can all repeat the plan back to one another. So that you know the plan, so that your kids know the plan, so that elders and juniors and everybody else understands the plan, so that we're not just energized and organized, but that we're on board with the same plan. Are you with me? Listen, I promise you, as long as the blood is warm in my veins, I will always be here fighting each and every day alongside of you. And let's keep on fighting. God bless you.
As my brother Shaun was speaking, I just want to share, I had the honor alongside others to pick him up from the airport and take him to the hotel, and I got a little glimpse into his life. And while we see the gentleman that is constantly on the front lines fighting for freedom for all people, I got to see that sometimes that comes at a cost. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you to Shaun, because you all don't know what happens behind the scenes of the threats, the people at your door having to uplift your life. And so I want to share that you will always have a home here in Dearborn. So as many of you know, Israel has many illegal settlements in the West Bank. They try to paint the West Bank as this place that's so democratic, and our Palestinians in the West Bank are dying just as much as our Gazans. Under internationally recognized Palestinian territories in the West Bank, where settlers are violent and aggressive towards the Palestinians who are native to that land. Homes that they illegally stole and expelled our Palestinians from. As I've engaged in this process of trying to advocate for a free Palestine, I've had many people ask me, do you believe in Israel's right to exist? And my response to them is, are you asking me if Israel has a right to exist under its current form? Are you asking me, does Israel has a right to exist at the displacement and killing of Palestinians? Because if that's what you're asking me, my answer is no. What is my answer? What is my answer? I wanted to remind you all that you shouldn't let anyone tell you that Palestinians in the West Bank aren't terrorized. And if anybody asks, who is Israel? You're going to remind them that they're a racist, fascist, terrorist, genocide-denying, ethnic-cleansing, terrorist state. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our next speaker. He's a comedian, a lawyer, a writer, a professor, and he's also the founder of New Generation for Palestine. Please help me welcome Amir Zahr.
Thank you, Lexi. How's everybody still feeling? I know it's been a long night, and I just made sure I went before Linda. We are here tonight to show solidarity, and I want to thank everyone that came with us tonight. Whether it is Elder Leslie from Michigan Unite, whether it is our sister Iman, who has always stood up for us here in Dearborn and everywhere. Father Jack, who has been to Palestine and here with us tonight and marched with us in every march since October 7th. Our mentor, Osama Siblani, who has dedicated the Arab American News every week to Palestine for 40 years. Our sister, Gabriela Santiago-Romero, who, trust me, had a tough time passing that ceasefire resolution and made sure that it happened. And of course, our brother Shaun King, who's joining us here today. Shaun told everybody that he has 5 kids from elementary school to college. Sounds like every Arab father I know in Dearborn. And to our brothers from Jewish Voice for Peace, our brothers and sisters who have been standing up, we thank you for your solidarity as well. Hold up your keffiyehs if you have. Hold them up. You can put them down now. 4 days ago in Vermont, they shot 3 Palestinian students for wearing that exact same thing. Kenan, Tahsin, and Hisham standing in front of their grandmother's house. Now, thankfully, they are still alive, though still in grave danger of lifelong damage. And yes, I said they shot 3 Palestinians. Because while the bullets came from one lone gunman, he was riled up by an atmosphere of hate. A soldier of the army of dehumanization deployed to justify and commit our genocide, whether it be in Gaza, in Chicago, or in Burlington, Vermont. The media and the politicians have fanned these flames. And so we say, shame. We say, enough. Brothers and sisters, lovers of justice, freedom, and the truth, we are here today in Dearborn and Detroit, the Arab capital, the Black capital, and if you go to District 6, the Latino capital, the workers' capital. And we are here on the International Day of Solidarity to say in a loud and clear voice, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! We are not ashamed to stand with the legitimate rights of Palestinians to live free from occupation and apartheid and say, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! They did not come to a land without a people. As my mother says, أخذوها مفروشة. They took it fully furnished. وراح ترجع مفروشة كمان. Now, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Raise your hand if you are a refugee from 1948 or the child or the grandchild of a refugee from 1948. We stand before you, like our three brothers in Vermont, as the real-life, real-time victims of Zionism and Israeli apartheid. Now, people ask me sometimes, will we make change? Will all of this work? I ask you to measure that by the people you see in the streets with us, by the people you see with us all over social media. Don't measure it by the White House. Because let me tell you something, governments, as we know in history, are the last people to do the right thing. The last people to do the right thing. I remember when I was a kid growing up in Philly, my parents would take me and they would go meet with our African brothers and sisters in downtown Philadelphia to fight against the apartheid movement. And we fought against the apartheid movement, and apartheid came down. Do you know what country, Osama knows this, what country was one of the last countries to stand with the apartheid regime? The United States of America. So we know that our governments are going to be the last ones to do the right thing, so don't be distracted or brought down when you say you don't see the change coming from Washington, because it will come soon enough. And they will try and distract everyone by saying we are a people full of hate, but nothing could be further from the truth. Do we hate people for who they are? Do we hate people for who they are? We hate occupation, we hate apartheid. But we don't hate people. Look around you. There are people here from every race, color, nationality, and religion. We are a people full of love. We are people full of what? What? We love our homeland, we love our people, we love justice. This stuff is not complicated, everybody. When Zionists march down the street, they say death to Arabs. When we march down the street, we say free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. And we say the one that they think gets us in trouble all the time, and I'll say it again. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. See, they think, Shaun, Linda, they think when we say from the river to the sea that it's genocide. They think when we say decolonization, that means we want to exterminate other people. I'm not a psychologist, but I think that's called projection. Because when they colonized us, they were genocide. Because when they say they want the land from the river to the sea, that means they want to kill all of us. They don't understand something very important. We are not trying to be like you. We know what we love. We love justice. This is not complicated, everybody. We are here today because each of you shares something very important with the person next to you, and that is the truth. Let me talk to you about the truth for a second. When we were growing up in our house, we had 7 people in our house, small Palestinian family, 7 people. 4 bedrooms, me and my brother were roommates, my sisters were roommates, my parents were roommates, and my grandmother lived with us, George, she lived with us as well. Now, me and my brother Ahmad would go see her every night because she would give us these chocolate cupcakes that my mom would never buy for us. You know, your grandmother always treats you better than your mom, especially if she's your dad's mom, because she doesn't like your mom. Anyway, so we would go there every night and we would get cupcakes from her, but not before we paid a price. And we had to pay a price. The price was her stories from 1948 in Yafa. And it wasn't a lot of stories. It was one story every night, the same night, and a lot of you have heard it from your grandmothers as well. She used to lay on her bed and she would hold up 2 fingers. And she would say in Arabic, they told us we could come back in 2 weeks, and we are still waiting. And that's how I know that we are going to win. Because we have the truth. Because my grandmother was the truth. I lived with the truth. We Palestinians are smart, but we are not smart enough to all individually tell the same lie for 75 years. We are telling the truth. Let me explain to you the power of the truth. The power of the truth works like this. There are 535 people in the American Congress. 5 years ago, we had no strong Palestinian voices, and then we elected one woman from right here. Her name is Rashida. Rashida, who is in Washington tonight because Congress is in session, working for us. This one woman has made Israel and AIPAC and all the pro-Israel people lose their damn minds. One woman out of 535. Now, if you are strong and secure and you believe in yourself, you don't care about one woman out of 535. You only care about one woman out of 535 if you are weak and fragile and insecure, because you know one woman speaking the truth will bring everything crashing down. That is the power of the truth. That's why they need $4 billion a year. It takes a lot of money to tell a lie for 75 years. It doesn't cost that much money to tell the truth. So keep telling the truth, keep being out there. And don't be afraid. I am proud to say that I am sitting here up on the stage with a few enemies of the state. Osama is an enemy of the state. Shaun is an enemy of the state. Linda is a major enemy of the state. And so what I say to you, and I think Linda would agree with me, we've been doing this stuff since we were teenagers together, out in these communities in America, is when they try and scare you or distract you, understand that there is nothing wrong with being an enemy of the state. There is nothing wrong with telling the truth. Liars don't become enemies of the state. People who tell the truth become enemies of the state. Martin Luther King was an enemy of the state. Malcolm X was an enemy of the state. Rosa Parks was an enemy of the state. Nelson Mandela was an enemy of the state. Cesar Chavez was an enemy of the state. The Prophet Muhammad was an enemy of the state. And the most famous Palestinian of all time, Jesus, was an enemy of the state. There is nothing shameful about being an enemy of the state. And so all of you stand here with the truth, so I'll do what I do at all my shows and all these rallies, is I want you to look at the person on your right and look at the person on your left and tell them thank you for coming tonight. And now I want you to look at these people and tell them I'm proud of you. And now look at these people and tell them I love you. Because we are a people full of love. And let me tell one more story about the people of Gaza. As you might know, I go to Palestine. Shaun, I never visit Palestine. I return to Palestine. Because we're all going to return one day. You too. As you know, I'm a comedian. I do shows in Palestine 2 or 3 times a year, usually. In 2015, I was there to do some shows, and I wanted to go to Gaza, but they wouldn't let anybody. So I did a show in Ramallah over Skype to a bunch of young people in Gaza, and they all spoke English because they had all visited America. And we also know that I live here in Detroit. And as we know, Detroit went through a lot of difficulties and abandonment and population decline. Luckily, it's on a renaissance now. And after the show that I did there in Ramallah, one of the girls from Gaza, she wanted to ask me a question. She raised her hand. She said to me, "You are from America?" I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "Where do you live in America?" I said, "Detroit." And she said, "Oh." That's what she said, Elder Leslie. I said, "Why? Oh." She said, "I came to America. I went everywhere in America, and America is a beautiful country. And then I came to Detroit. Detroit's been very abandoned for a while, right?" And she said, "I saw Detroit. And I said to myself, what can the people of Gaza do to help the people of Detroit? So if the people of Gaza can stand up and say they want to help the people of Detroit, then the people of Detroit and Dearborn can stand up and say, that we are going to stand up for the people of Gaza. And we are not alone here tonight. We stand here with all of our brothers and sisters from every race and religion, and we stand here on the right side of history. We know that if Martin Luther King were here today, he would say, "Free, free Palestine." Free, free Palestine. If Malcolm X were here today, he would say, "Free, free Palestine." Free, free Palestine. If Mandela were here today, he would say, "Free, free Palestine." Free, free Palestine. And yes, if the prophets Muhammad and Jesus were here, they would stand hand in hand. And they would say in a loud voice, "Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!" Thank you, I love you. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! You know, the other day, I won't say any names, but a few people showed up to Senator Gary Peters' house. And a few people showed up to Governor Gretchen Whitmer's house. And when I got home, I went on Twitter, and there was a state senator who was saying, "Please don't go to their home." But I want to make something very clear. When thousands of people are reaching out to your office, when thousands of people who voted for you are calling you, when thousands of people are emailing your office and you are not responding, I promise you, no justice, no peace, we will show up at your doorsteps. I know you are tired, I know you are hot, and I know you want to leave, but remember that you are here to stand in solidarity for the people of Gaza. The people who have been living in a genocide for over 50 days now. We will not forget that. We will always think about them. We will always keep them in our prayers, but we will always, always, always organize to ensure that people know what's going on. The next speaker is somebody who every time I listen to gives me goosebumps. She is a sister to us all, and to a lot of the young people, she's a mother to you all. Please help me welcome my sister and the co-founder of the Women's March, Linda Sarsour.
Assalamu alaikum. Oh my goodness. I wish you all could just be up here with me just to see all of your incredibly beautiful faces. People, Arab are here, our Black sisters and brothers are here, some of whom are also from our Muslim community, our Lebanese sisters and brothers, our Yemeni sisters and brothers, our Egyptian sisters and brothers, our white sisters and brothers, our Jewish sisters and brothers. I mean, you all look absolutely incredible. Thank you. This is how Palestinian I'm gonna be. Sisters and brothers, every time I've come to Dearborn, I have told you every time that I am unapologetically Palestinian American. In the last 2 months, I didn't know it was possible that I could be even more prouder than I ever was to be a Palestinian American. I am the great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter of Palestinians and Palestinian great-great-grandmothers whose footsteps I walk. Many of you here who are children of immigrants. I am a daughter of Palestinian immigrants. My parents chose to leave a military occupation, to leave living under a military occupation so that I don't have to be born under a military occupation. My parents left their family members, their parents, their sisters and brothers, everything that they loved in Palestine to come to these United States of America. So you better believe that I am going to make my parents' journey worth it. I was not born in the United States as a Palestinian American to be silent. My parents brought me here to the land of power, to the most powerful country in the world so they could raise their children here, so that we could be Palestinians in the diaspora and stand up and fight for our people. So I am my great-great-grandparents' wildest dreams manifested. And you are that too. Sisters and brothers, people here talk to you about Nelson Mandela. Just so we're all clear, they called Nelson Mandela a terrorist. And here we are in 2023, and people will tell you Nelson Mandela was a freedom fighter. Nelson Mandela was a hero. 60 years ago, they told you that Dr. King was the most dangerous man in America. You know who said that? FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover said that. They blacklisted organizations that Dr. King was with. They infiltrated the organizations that Dr. King was with. The FBI tried to get Dr. King to commit suicide. Sisters and brothers, the people that they demonized, that they vilified 50, 60 years later, it's always, the calculation's always the same. They will become heroes. So you can call me anything you want right now, but about maybe in 30 years, trust me, I'm going down in the history books as a freedom fighter. That's just what history told me. This is how the trajectory always goes. They criminalized the Black Panther Party. And look at us now, we do movies about the Black Panther Party. There was a Fred Hampton movie. But they assassinated Fred Hampton as a 21-year-old is what they did. They assassinated Dr. King. They assassinated Malcolm X and Medgar Evers. So sisters and brothers, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I am no more honorable than the people of Gaza. And I will not be silent in this country. I don't care what they do, what they say, who shows up. We are going to fight for our people. I haven't told you a story about solidarity. Let me tell you about the Palestinian people. 2014, a young 17-year-old Black boy named Mike Brown was shot on the streets of Ferguson, Missouri. And he laid out on that street for 4 hours swimming in his blood. And they didn't even have the ounce of humanity to even bring an ambulance to check if this young man was still breathing or had a heartbeat. And then after the 4 hours, they picked him up and they put him in the back of an SUV like he was a bag of rocks. And as a Palestinian, I got up from Brooklyn. I said, oh no, not on my watch, you're not going to do that. I will go to Ferguson, I will bear witness. And I will stand with the people of Ferguson. Not because I'm Linda Sarsour, it's because I'm Palestinian. And I'm in Ferguson, on the streets of Ferguson, and I'm watching the United States government and the National Guard and the military, the United States military turning on their own people. And they threw tear gas at these young people, these young Black people who were outraged at the murder of their neighbor, of their friend, of their cousin in the streets of Ferguson. And that was when Twitter was a big thing back in those days in 2014. Started looking on Twitter, and the young people in Gaza, not you in Dearborn, I'm talking about the young people in Gaza. They said, wait a minute, hold on a second, you all are doing this all wrong. We're gonna help you out over here. Since you want to be on the front lines, we got your back. Because we know what it feels like to be tear gassed. And so here's what you do. You go get some milk, and you wash your eyes out, and you're going to be perfectly fine, and you go back to the front line. And then they said, you know those 2-liter bottles of Pepsi that you all got? This is what you do. You turn them over, you make a cutout, and you use it as a shield when you go back to the front lines. Next thing you know, I'm on the streets of Ferguson, and I see these young Black kids. They got the milk. Mind you, they don't know who these kids are. Those kids could be lying for all they know. But there was a sense of solidarity between two oppressed peoples, and they said, well, if those kids are telling us there must be something here. And that's what the kids of Ferguson did. They washed their eyes out with milk and went right back to the front line. Then they got the Pepsi bottles, and they went outside with a shield standing up to the National Guard, so the riot police that came out with heavy artillery to stand up against unarmed young people who were outraged at the death of an innocent man in their community. That's who the Palestinian people are. When you go through the streets of Palestine, they stand up for George Floyd. They have stood in solidarity with the children of Syria. That is who the Palestinian people are. And that is who I am. And that is what I know how to be. So when you all have seen me on the streets as a solidarity activist, I don't want you to think there's anything extraordinary about me. That is the spirit and the blood of the Palestinian people that runs through me, that tells me to be wherever there is injustice. That injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I want to talk to the young people for a minute. It ain't easy being a young Palestinian in America right now. And it's not easy being a young Arab American or a young Muslim American or a young person of color who is showing solidarity with the Palestinian people. It's not easy. And I know you're heartbroken. You watch these videos and you are enraged at what you see. But you are also heartbroken. Because sisters and brothers, I'll tell you, I am heartbroken every single day. And sometimes I ask myself, the one thing that I pray for is that I still have a heart to break after all this that we have witnessed. But here's what I want to tell young people. The people of Palestine count on you. They count on your voice. And in every moment in history when there has been an atrocity, where there has been apartheid, it has been achieved or won, or the justice has been won at the hands of young people and the hands of young people on college campuses across America. Don't worry about the company who may not hire you because you are saying end bloodshed and end violence, that you are saying that you want justice. Why would you want to work at a company like that anyway? Why would you be upset about a scholarship that you lost because the people that want to give the scholarship don't want to give a young, brave, courageous young person who is willing to stand up and say the truth? Why would you want that scholarship anyway? Sisters and brothers, what is meant to be for you will be meant. You will get what you deserve, and guess what? I promise you, you probably deserve way better than that job and way better than that scholarship. Sisters and brothers, they want to silence you because you're powerful. They don't silence weak people. They don't silence the sellouts. They silence the brave, unapologetic, courageous people. You know why? You know why they want to silence you on a college campus? It's very simple. It's because you appeal to people's moral humanity. We don't have to dehumanize others to fight for justice. And when you stand up and you talk about the plight of the Palestinian people, people lean in. There are young people all across the internet right now that didn't know much about Palestine. And all of a sudden they're saying, wait a minute. This is outrageous. Wait a minute, I paid for this. This is outrageous. And so they're trying to silence our young people. And here's what I need you to do. You gotta get louder. Because what I want you to know, and I said this before, I'm gonna say it again, that history has taught us that they will always vilify those who stand on truth. That's just the nature of the world that we have lived for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And so I always say to people, I don't care about what they say about me now. Because what I know is that in 30, 40 years, my great-grandchildren are going to look to me and say, I know where my grandmother was. I know where my great-grandmother was. And then your grandchild's going to turn to you and be like, where were you in 2023 when they were killing the children of Gaza? You're going to say, oh, me? I was outside. I went to every rally. I called my members of Congress. I organized my college campus. I stood up to professors. I stood up to my administration. I called on my administration to divest from apartheid. That's what I did. And I promise you, your grandchildren are going to look up to you with such pride. And that's what I long for. I long for two things in this life. For my great-grandchildren to be proud of me. For me to be remembered in history as someone who spoke truth to power, no matter the consequences. Because there's always consequences. Let me say this to you. If you are somebody that everybody likes, you got a problem. And when I wake up in the morning and nobody hates me today, I say, oh, we gotta go a little harder today. Something's wrong. Sisters and brothers, I have cultivated a very long enemy list. It's very long. white supremacists, Republicans, right-wing Zionists, neoliberal Democrats. I got them all. The list is long. And guess what? If someone asked me to have drafted that myself, those were the exact people I would have put on there. And that's how I know I'm doing it right. Shaun talked to this, all the folks up here have experienced this at some level. I'm a Muslim. And this is what I believe as a Muslim. When it's my time to go, I'm gonna go. Which is what the people of Gaza have taught you. The people of Gaza, by the way, have a type of spirit and faith that I pray for. You know how you make dua for the people of Gaza and you say, may Allah protect them, may Allah protect them. You know what dua I make? Ya Allah, give me the iman that the people of Gaza have. That's my dua for myself. I want that kind of faith. The kind of faith that believes there's a bigger purpose here. And guess what the people of Gaza have told me that? Said, Sister Linda, I know that you all see the bloodshed and you see the rubble, and I know you see this, and we're heartbroken too. But this is what Allah wants. This is not for us, this is for you. What are you gonna do with this? They believe that what is happening now in Gaza is an opportunity for us to unite together, to come together, to fight together, not for a ceasefire, because that's important. This is our moment to build our movement for a true and free Palestine in our generation. So I'm imploring you, my sisters and brothers, that you do not let these 20,000 lives go in vain. Because here's a little critique I have of us, and if that's okay, you know, like I said, a lot of people don't like me, even sometimes in the Muslim community they don't like me. Because I just say what I gotta say. And I leave it with Allah. If you like me, you don't, it's fine with me. Sisters and brothers, my critique of our communities is this. Why do you have to wait for dead babies on the streets? For you to rise up in the way that we have risen up in the last 2 months? So when you hear a permanent ceasefire, because there will be a permanent ceasefire, I'm gonna tell you why. Because the state of Israel already lost the war. They lost the war. They lost this war. Now we're still heartbroken over our 20,000 human beings that were lost, but they are the losers. They have lost the war. They have lost the propaganda war. They are the losers. They have even lost goodwill amongst people and dictators and people all over the world that we don't even want to be on our side. They've lost. So there will be a ceasefire, I promise you that. And it will be because of your calls and because of your organizing and because of the emails and because you're showing up to Gary Peters' houses and other people's houses. That will be why. But here's my challenge for you. What happens the day after a permanent ceasefire? What happens the week after the permanent ceasefire? Are the tears you have shed over your Palestinian sisters and brothers still worthy of them post a permanent ceasefire? Are you ready to stay outside and stay consistent, to fight for a long-term solution because our people deserve it? Sisters and brothers, they have poured their hearts out to you. They have shown you what resilience looks like, what faith looks like, what strength looks like. And they're saying to you, are you all in? Are you all in? Because I'm in till my dying breath, sisters and brothers. All these people, and I just want to say something about ceasefire, because this bothers me, just so we're clear, it really bothers me. It bothers me that we gotta call people that represent us and think they're doing something so radical like a ceasefire. Ceasefire just means everybody stop fighting. Everybody stop bloodshed, put the guns down, put the bombs down. That's what ceasefire means. That's the least that people can do. And I just want you to know, for anybody that hasn't even called yet for a ceasefire, they are in opposition. They are in my opposition. And I will never forget them. not just President Biden, but local members of Congress, local city council members in different cities across America, our allies and people that have stood with us, people who have made statements and took them back because a right-wing Zionist funder called them and told them, go back and say you apologize for saying you want a ceasefire. Let me tell you about what history is also going to recall. And I'm going to be part of that because I'm going to be an old lady storyteller. And I will remind people because history will tell you the stories of the cowards. History will tell us the stories of the sellouts, of the inhumane, of the immoral, of the people that didn't have a moral code. Listen, that's because it's hot in here and we're just getting in, okay? That's what happens. That's a sign from God that we are on the right path. So while history will be telling the stories of the cowards, the inhumane, the immoral, and those who did not have a moral compass, history will also tell our stories. They will tell the stories of the truth tellers, the unapologetic, the brave, and the courageous. And one day people will say, in 2023, there were people outside, and here are their photos, and here are the rallies that they did, and here are this, and here are that, and here are this. Trust me, because we read about the ones from 30, 40 years and we think that we're not going to be around in 40 years to read the same stories again, but this time, we will be those in that story. So my message to all of you, especially the young people, stay brave. And when it gets hard, that moment when you're like, oh no, this is just getting too much for me, that's the exact moment that I need you to be in. Because things don't change when it's easy. Things change when it's hard. And so stay focused, stay consistent, stay persistent, because our beloved Palestinian people have been persistent for 75 years. All I'm asking you, I just need like 2 more years. I really feel, like I'm not gonna lie to you, before 2 years ago, if you would have asked me, I would have said, look, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing and planting those seeds, even if I'm not gonna be on this earth to see a free Palestine. And when you ask me today, in my heart, and I got some good intuition, I'm 43 years old, and I believe now more than I've ever believed before that a free Palestine is coming and it's coming soon. I love you, Dearborn. I love these people that are behind me. I appreciate you, and I appreciate foremost those that are in this room who are not Palestinian, and know that together, we are powerful. And that is why our opposition is going so hard, because we represent possibility. And in particular, they don't like to see the Jews and the Palestinians organizing together, because we represent the possibility of what coexistence looks like, of what it looks like to believe that our liberation is bound up with one another. And that is what they hate. So we gotta keep doing what they hate. And what they hate is power and solidarity and working together. They hate the truth, but we are the people of truth. And inshallah, one day, all of us, everybody in this room will return to the Holy Land in a free Palestine. Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Before you all leave, I want to say I wake up every day and I tell myself I'm incredibly proud to be Palestinian. But Linda reminds me that being Palestinian in fact is the greatest honor of my life. And as you all leave here today, I want to remind you what our brother Shaun said. I beg you to continue to organize, continue to call elected officials, and continue to work towards a collective plan. And remember, it doesn't end at a ceasefire. A ceasefire is the bare minimum. It ends until we see the dismantling of the terrorist racist state of Israel and a free Palestine. Please get home safe. Check out the art exhibit. I want to say thank you to Sada Nasser. She's a community member. She built the art exhibit outside. Please
see it, take pictures as you leave, and get home safe. Thank you.
If anyone has a red lanyard, please give it to Abbas or, I looked at Abbas. If anyone has a red lanyard, please give it to me or Lexi or Adam. Please, if you want to join us and donate, ngp1948.org. And everybody have a safe good night. We love you and we're proud of you.